Tonight, it's Suns versus Minnesota, but honestly, Espo, that looks like a regular-sized one. Psychos and sickos unite for a Next Man Up edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Of course, we are live from Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass at the Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar. Come say hi. Come hang out with us. Espo's buying drinks, and we're all watching the Suns take on the Minnesota Timberwolves for their second matchup of the season. I'm Eric. We've got Gil, Espo, I'm about to say the freckled Mamba's there, and we've got the regular Mamba over there. Steven, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Sean asking, does SVG have his quadruple whiskey neat off of camera?
Oh, he already chugged it. So we're in for a hell of a pregame show.
Yeah, he took that quadruple whiskey neat like a shot, huh, Steven?
It was unbelievable.
Hey, straight up and down. Bottles up.
He needs it after that football game yesterday.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You can get me started on Ferk the Roofs.
Look, maybe we'll be saying Ferk the Roofs tonight, but hopefully not. Honestly, there's no other way to start with this game than with the injury report. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at the Husband and Wife Lawn Team. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Lawn Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at husbandandwifelawnteam.com. So a couple of names that we're expecting to see here. Okay, Jalen Green continues to be out with a right hamstring strain. Devin Booker continues to be out with a right groin strain. Isaiah Livers out with a right hip strain. Dillon Brooks was questionable with a left Achilles soreness designation. He will be playing tonight and is available after doing his pregame work. We'll get to the Timberwolves side of things, but first, Gil, that is a scary, scary injury designation to see and then have also the saying available right afterwards.
Yeah, anytime you hear the Achilles word, whatever it is, a strain, a soreness, whatever it is, I feel like you want to err on the side of caution. I thought that he was going to err on the side of caution, that the team was going to err on the side of caution. I know that they're down a lot of guys, but hearing that he's available with it, basically all of our reaction was, I sure hope he's perfectly okay, because ultimately it's about the long term. It's about being available on March 8th and not just December 8th. But, I know you guys are kind of saying similar things. And I don't know how you feel about it with him going into it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I just play one here on the show.
Yeah.
But I would not mess with any.
Yep.
Anytime you see Achilles and an injury designation, you should be just go sit down. We're good. We'll take an L if we have to.
Yep.
In this one, rest up.
Yeah, anytime I see or hear that big A involved in any injury designations, honestly, even calf strains at this point, my antenna's up, and I'm thinking 2 weeks of no on-court activity. Probably don't even want you putting that foot on the ground, so just throw it in a boot, put it on the scooter, and, get your groove on, like Tyrese Halliburton was doing for a little bit. But, I mean, if they're saying he's going to play or he even has a chance to play, it must not be as, I guess, daunting as we think it is, but it's hard to not think anything less than that considering what we just saw in the playoffs a handful of months ago.
I mean, it showing up on the injury report is already enough cause for concern. Right. We were all sitting at a table when the news came down that he is available, and all of us let out a collective groan. I think you're just at this point where we talk about the NBA having collective soft tissue injury problems, whether it's a calf or a hamstring. And we've seen it with Book, where you injure one part of your lower body and you start overcompensating for the other part. So it's not even just, left Achilles soreness, he's going to hurt his left Achilles. It could be, well, now he's going really hard on his right leg and it's a right calf. And if there's anything we know, Espo, it's that Dillon Brooks doesn't stop. He goes at 100 miles per hour all the time. There's no half-assing it with him.
No, and I'm guessing that that's a big reason why he's playing too, because he's a guy that isn't going to sit even if they give him the smallest amount of potential to play, he's not going to sit, and that is what it comes down to. And that concerns me too, because I appreciate that mindset, but that mindset has to be set aside sometimes for the greater good. And I feel like tonight probably was one of those, because if anything happens that he gets injured in any way tonight, people are going to have so many questions about how did you green light him in any way to play in this game?
Yeah, that's the thing about him. It's the beauty of him and the player that he is. But you said he only knows one speed, and that's 100%. So it's not going to be a guy who's coming in and playing, letting up or anything like that. Because he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with. I know it was a game time decision. He went through a workout pregame, and he passed all tests, I guess, by any means. But at the same time, we know that game speed and game reps are very different than going through some workouts pregame. So hoping for the best, obviously trusting him, trusting the training staff that they wouldn't have allowed this to happen, allowed him to suit up and play if it weren't safe to do so. But obviously going to be watching with a little caution, to be a little nervous during the game.
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope, but it doesn't feel like this one that there's a positive side too, because if he plays through that today, how long is he going to be playing through that? It's not like it's just going to go one game and then you'll be fine by Wednesday. Like, it's not going to get any easier, so I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to work. But that's something that's above my level of understanding. I just talk hoop. I don't do the medical side, so I'll let them do what they do, but just know that we do have our antennas up about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we saw Mark Williams with a right calf soreness designation for one game and then was off the injury report the next game. I think if Dillon Brooks is not off the injury report for the next game, then having him play tonight to me just feels like you're not looking at the big picture of things. And I know it's sometimes hard to look at the big picture. You want to win every game, but you sometimes got to save athletes from themselves. And you should not be playing with any sort of Achilles designation if it's going to be something that's lingering. But look,
have
he'll
y'all
play
had
tonight.
Achilles soreness before?
No.
I can gladly say I have not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I had.
I just have soreness.
Just general soreness.
General
Like,
soreness.
what body part? The entire
entire
Yes.
body part. After we played pickup on Saturday, I was moving around like an old man on Sunday.
I
But
wanted to play again on Sunday.
well, somebody is playing tonight, and that is Anthony Edwards on the Minnesota Timberwolves side of things. Anthony Edwards was a late addition to the injury report with an illness. He'll be available. Terrence Shannon Jr. also available with an illness. Enrique Freeman is also available, so a fully healthy slate for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, Ant-Man dropped 41 against the Suns last time they played, but lost on a Colin Gillespie buzzer beater. Do we feel like he's going to be out for revenge tonight?
I mean, knowing Anthony Edwards, knowing what we know about Anthony Edwards, absolutely. This is a guy who, Timberwolves team's won 5 games in a row. Anthony Edwards has been on a scoring tear as of late. The last 2 games, not so much. But, it's a similar thing that we kind of said about the Lakers win streak when we talked about that this time last week. Had they really played anybody, they beat the lowly Clippers, 2 wins over the Pelicans. But respect, it's the NBA regardless. So I do expect Anthony Edwards to want to keep it rolling, especially if he got ruled to play. I think similarly, he wanted an opportunity to go back against the team that beat him not that long ago.
I just hope he isn't like his dad and has a flu game out here. That's what I'm hoping.
This last 5 games for the Minnesota Timberwolves as a team have been really good. Obviously, they've won them all. 125.4 points per game. That was the equivalent of what would be first in the league. 57% from 2, 42.2% from 3, which is the equivalent of what would be number 1 in the league. And then 85.6 from the free throw line. They're shooting the leather off the basketball, but they're creating high-quality shots. And that's the difference between last time they played them and with the team they're going against now. They also are averaging 29.6 assists, which would be obviously first in the league, and 16 threes made as a team. So 42% on 16 threes made a game. You got to contain the ball, and you have to be on a string defensively because they're seeing the ball go in the basket quite often right now.
I mean, this is going to be a tough team to play against no matter what, but specifically offensively, I mean, I guess it's good that you have Dillon Brooks out there in theory, but Gil, tonight, the Suns really need to lock down defensively to try to get Minnesota out of their rhythm, and then they'll need somebody to step up on the offensive end without Devin Booker and Jalen Green still. Yeah,
we've been preaching this with the next man up mentality. Obviously, it's been Colin Gillespie a lot of the times. Dillon Brooks has been carrying the majority of the load throughout the season, but we saw Royce O'Neal have a stinker on Friday, right? Can't afford to have that again offensively. Who can step up? Can you get some good Jordan Goodwin minutes? Can you call on Jamari Bouye again? Who are the guys on the perimeter? Grayson Allen obviously needs to come back and, have a better game than he had on Friday as well. So you think about a lot of things that went wrong Friday. There was a lot of things offensively where it sputtered at times. So if you can get some guys stepping up and just making shots, because they missed a lot of wide open shots this weekend, especially, Steven, the way you're talking about the way that the Timberwolves have been shooting lately. Entering the door and having an opportunity, the first thing to do is make shots.
Well, they only made 6 of the 20 wide open threes that they had.
It's not good.
Based on analytics. So look, paging Royce O'Neal.
Yeah.
Royce O'Neal, please pick up the orange courtesy phone. I would like to see Royce O'Neal regain some of that stroke that he had earlier in the year. That would go a long way to helping them find some offense when they need it right now.
Yeah, I think for the Suns to go and get this one, they're going to need their defense to be there.
Yeah.
Minnesota had, I think, their season high in turnovers in that last time they played the Suns with 22, I believe. And that number in tandem with the offensive rebounds the Suns were able to get, which was also a league or most that they've conceded to an opponent by Minnesota so far this season. Those are the margins you got to hit on in tonight's game because, again, if they're shooting that well and they're also only averaging 14 turnovers in this 5-game stretch, they're not doing much of anything wrong on offense right now. So you have to take a couple of things away from them, and I think they showed the ability to do that last time out. He had 41, Anthony Edwards did, but it wasn't a comfortable 41.
Right.
Well, and I think you look at that, that's kind of what the Suns' MO is make the other team play their game. And honestly, with Minnesota, Minnesota was relatively comfortable in that game. They were up double digits there near the end of the game. Devin Booker was in foul trouble. He fouls out. Dillon Brooks was also in foul trouble. He could never really get into his full assortment of offensive tricks and whatnot because he just never really got a rhythm. You look at tonight, right? You still have your backs against the wall, but this specific group of guys has proven that they can hang in and they can beat this team against a lot of odds. Obviously, you look at a guy like Colin Gillespie, who's coming off of a relatively quiet night against the Houston Rockets, shooting 1 of 7 from deep, only getting 13 points. And honestly, Grayson Allen as well, who's only played 2 games since returning from his right quad contusion, but hasn't really been able to find his rhythm. Those are 2 guys for me that if those threes fall early, I feel like this team's going to be able to get into a lot more of a comfortable rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's sometimes as simple as shooting out of the slump. We talked about it. I think it's been hard, too, for guys. With all the injuries that the team has had, it's just never been anything that's pretty similar. So there's not a lot of continuity. A lot of getting in your rhythm is very much dependent on lineups and rotations and where you are on the floor and who you're playing off of, who's assisting you, setting you up to shoot. And it hasn't really been the same, especially for somebody like Grayson Allen, who misses time. As soon as he comes back, the guy he comes back to really help and play off of exits the lineup. So it's really just been tough for him. I expect maybe things settle down a little bit again. Paging Royce O'Neal, I think if he's able to knock some shots down and force the defense to guard him a certain way, that opens things up for everybody. But we're going to need everybody to step up and punch up a weight class, so to speak.
Mark in the chat brought up something interesting, Steven, that I want to know if you saw. He said he thinks a lot of those guys missed those open shots the other night because there wasn't somebody passing to him and getting it in that shooter's pocket, and hitting him where they need, where Devin's so good at that. Did you notice that in any of what you watched?
Less about the pass location, but more about the rhythm of it. I think that's what I mentioned a few times in post game on Friday or whatever day that was.
Friday.
I'm all throwing off Friday.
Yeah,
It felt like it was too long ago, but yeah, it felt like the rhythm at which they were making the reads that they were making passes on got to guys that were open, but the timing mechanism of it was just a little bit off. And that's a credit to Houston's very, very, very physical and active defense. Not a defense to the same extent in Minnesota, but they're top 10 in half court and general defense as well as on offense. So different challenge, but they still got to go and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go and get it done. I don't want to say they have to. I mean, let's go ahead and get into our must-win meter. This might be the lowest one that we've had all season, a 2.3 averaged out. Steven at a 1, Espo at a 0, Gil at a 2.5. I'm at a low, meagerly 5. Ayrton at a 3. A 0 and a 1 down there on that end of the panel, folks.
I mean, what? Why? I have an
Anthony Edwards. That's really it.
I mean,
you've lost 2 in a row, and I hate Anthony Edwards.
I
That's
get
really
that.
the only thing.
But honestly, I just look at it and you go, okay, you got Dillon with battling whatever he's battling. You have no Devin Booker. You're on a weird Monday night in Minnesota. Like, this is not a game that I go, you know what? I have to have this one. I have to walk away with it.
I mean, coming into today, we weren't expecting Dillon Brooks to play. On top of no Devin Booker or Jalen Green. I shouldn't even had a 1 up there if I'm being honest, but I forgot we could put a 0, so I put a 1 just because of that.
Does it change now you know that Dillon Brooks is playing?
Nope, because I still don't feel like he should be playing.
No, I agree with that. Gil at a 2.5, one of the higher ones today.
I was trying to just restore a little balance, honestly. That's how I felt coming into it. Obviously, you want to come out and win, and I think it would be a statement for those guys who are stepping up in the next man up mentality. But at the same time, like, if you lose this one when you're down 2 starters in the third one who may or may not should be playing out there, like, it is what it is. It's a Monday night in December. Just stay healthy and focus on the big one that means more Wednesday.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, this to me is you've lost 2 games in a row. You're getting a little closer to 500, which isn't the biggest deal at the end of the world.
Yeah.
But you would like to get a win tonight. You are on the road. You've had a couple of days off.
Yeah.
A Suns must compete.
Suns must
For
compete.
me.
I like that.
I know.
like that.
After that Houston game where they turned it on in the second quarter and it just fell out of hand since then, I'd like for them to at least make them a close game deep into the fourth quarter, because then at that point you never know what you might be able to do with this group of guys. I think a blowout here, it's not going to ruin morale, but it definitely wouldn't feel good after a couple of days off.
Yeah, I think this is one where if you sneak away with a win, it's a bonus win this season based on everything that you're up against, and I'm okay with that. So go out, surprise us, give us a win that you don't necessarily expect, and that's the way that you build on top of what's already been a great start. But if you lose this one, okay, you're in a rough stretch. You don't have any of your guys. It's not crazy to me.
Yeah, win would be found money, but like you said, kind of like we talked about the end of the Rockets game, if it is a losing effort, just hopefully get some good things out of it. If it's getting the young guys some confidence, getting them out there, getting out of the slump, making shots, whatever it is, take some type of positive and must compete. So compete. Don't get blown out two games in a row.
Yeah, no. Getting blown out, to me, with this team, I won't say unacceptable because that just happens in the NBA, but with the way that they compete, it shouldn't happen that often. But in order to get a win, they're going to need to do some certain things. Steven, what are your keys to the game?
Yeah, we are starting on the defensive end of the floor, and I feel like this is where if they're going to make this one interesting and potentially win, it's going to emanate from how sustained their execution is there. So presentation and pressure in your defensive shell versus Anthony Edwards in particular. If you're able to take him away or at least take away some of his reads and channel him to certain pockets of the court, as we saw in the second half of that game when he had a rash of turnovers last time out, you can dictate the terms, and if you're dictating the terms, you're giving yourself a chance. You have to take something off the table from him, though, because the way he's playing, if he's assisting and scoring and getting paint touches and getting to the free throw line and talking to Dillon Brooks, as well as getting that I was going to say links, excuse me, that Timberwolves crowd engaged, that's tough to deal with up there. Number 2, take care of the basketball. Season high in turnovers for the Suns last time out against Minnesota. Some of it was the pressure that they were applying with their top 10 defense and defense in the half court especially, but other part of that was the Suns just not being decisive with some of their decisions. You have no margin for error in tonight's game, especially with your injury adversity. Take care of the ball, you give yourself a chance, and then the last one, make them earn it. Make them make good decisions, make them play to a certain level that they know that they're going to need to win it. Don't give them any easy outs.
Agree wholeheartedly. Can I change my Suns must win?
To what?
An 11 because I forgot that they're owned by freaking A-Rod and I can't stand that guy.
Well, it's good because Sean was saying that you were saying it was a Suns must lose.
Oh,
come on.
That's what a 0 means.
I mean, it could be a Suns will lose if we want to get technical, but
when it comes down to the rotation, there's been a lot of talk about Rasheer Fleming obviously entering that rotation. We've seen some minutes from Nigel Hayes Davis. Is that maybe a move we'd like to see Jordan Ott pull tonight and give Rasheer some looks? Do you feel like this might be a matchup that you could see some success with him?
I mean, we talked about the end of the game, and I even mentioned it just now, getting some stuff from the young players. He looked confident out there. Didn't see it go through on Friday night, but at a certain point, it wouldn't hurt to just press the button and see what happens. Maybe tonight is that because you're not really expected to win the game, and maybe you get something out of him that you weren't expecting to at a certain point. There's a conversation about readiness and what we've seen from him, and maybe he needs to get more reps with the Valley Suns. But at the same time, there's a chance where when he's playing with elevated players around him, that makes him look better in some rotational minutes. So I'm not opposed to seeing it, especially given the circumstance tonight.
I'm at a point in a game like this where I obviously have low expectations. Play both the rookies. Yeah. Go out there, play Kaman as well. Play him against Gobert, and go out there if it looks like it might go the way that we kind of feel. I'd play them both. Give them both a little run. They've proven themselves in what they're doing with the Valley Suns. Reward that with giving them some minutes tonight.
I think if one of those two should play, I would say Rasheer. And I say that because this is a team that when you get into your secondary units and rotations, you can play smalls against the Julius Randle and Naz Reid. League trend going on right now since the playoffs is whenever Rudy Gobert is not on the floor for them, Teams are just switching the actions where it's Julius Randle and Nas Reed on the court, and you just kind of live with the matchup, so you organize it outside of that afterwards. You can do that with this team if you're the Suns and play your wings in more succession with one another than always having a Mark Williams on the court. When he's off, you can downsize and do so effectively. So I imagine that would be an outlet for Rasheer to get minutes tonight.
I think this would be a tough one for Kaman, especially I feel like Julius Randle would be a really tough cover for Kaman Malawach. I think Nas Reed as well, somebody who could stretch the floor and get into the paint is just tough for that decision-making process that we've seen Kaman struggle with. But I'm never going to hate, watching them in games. I know, Espo, you and I talked about it a lot at the beginning of the season where we would like to see them get run. And that's when the team was 1-3, 1-4. Now, obviously, it's different right now when you are above 500 and you're in a play-in chase, maybe a playoff chase eventually. But in this specific stretch of time when you are so depleted and shorthanded and you're on the road, you might just want to find a spark that maybe you can continue to rely on when your team is fully healthy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Rasheer deserves the opportunity too because he started to get it and then got injured.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Rasheer would be a nice one just to see if he can hold up against some of the players that the Timberwolves have in the front court. But at the end of the day, really what this game hinges on for me is, are you going to be able to hit open threes? And if Rasheer Fleming is the guy who comes in and knocks down an early three, then yeah, you got to give him run. But if he's not, then I don't know if Jordan Ott continues to go for him for the rest of the game. I still look at Grayson Allen and Colin Gillespie, Gil, as those two guys are going to make it hum tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from the get-go too, right, guys who we'll see in the starting unit, we talk so much about with this team how important it is to have a good start. Up until the other day, they hadn't lost after winning the first quarter, but they're still, 10-1, whatever the record is, winning the first quarter of the game. So it's really important, especially on the road when you're undermanned at a talent disadvantage, to get out at a good start. So I think that Grayson Allen and Colin Gillespie are two guys who can play much better than they did in Houston, and they can get the team off out the gates on the right note.
Yeah, Colin is my player to watch in tonight's game because they need someone that's going to control things for them at the helm of the offense, get them into their sets and actions efficiently in terms of time, go get a paint touch off script sometimes, playing pick and roll, be effective, engaging Rudy Gobert, and then making decisions off of that. Obviously knocking down shots as well if he wants to play in that customary deep drop. Is your pull-up three there going both directions? They're going to need it. The defensive end is, though, that's where my attention is most because his man said screens the fourth most times all season against Minnesota last time out, meaning that they were hunting him. If he's solid and just presenting himself and not getting blown by, I think he can do a solid job of kind of setting the tone for them on the defensive end as well. I'll be talking more about that on tomorrow's show, but that's a little bit of what was going on last time out. If the Suns are sharp there, again, they can do some things, but it has to start with him on both ends of the floor.
Espo, if you had to bet on one of those two guys coming out firing and getting off to a hot start, Grayson Allen, Colin Gillespie, who are you putting your money on?
I'm going to say Grayson because we saw what he was doing before the injury, and inevitably it's going to fall, and that shot's going to fall, and it's just going to kind of cascade. I feel like tonight might be that night, and Colin might be the guy that continues to set him up to get him to that.
Yeah, I think playmaking Colin is a good call, but if we're going off of maybe the betting record, then maybe it will be Colin Gillespie.
Or neither based on our betting record.
Look, we'll get into bets here in a second. I guess, both of them are just going to miss a bunch of threes, but we're going to be missing you if you don't come out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Espo's buying drinks. We're all hanging out, and we're watching Suns Timberwolves. I know a lot of you are getting off of work right now, pulling up the pregame show on your phone. You still got time to come out here. Wild Horse Pass, upper deck, kitchen, and bar. Free drinks on Espo, plus so much more fun as the Phoenix Suns take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's go ahead and take a look at the line for the game. Of course, presented by our friends over at Bet365. Phoenix +8 on the road on the spread, +275 on the money line. Minnesota -350 on the money line, -8 on the spread. That's what Bet365 thinks. But let's go ahead and get into our pregame picks. Once again, sponsored by our friends over at Bet365. Sign up, download Bet365, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for 5, get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Gil, I believe you are still leading us in our earnings at a plus 179.
You believe. You knew he was leading us.
Yeah,
still.
Ayrton at a plus 42. Me in a solid third place at a negative 47.75. And Espo at a minus 160.
Gil has more than fully lapped me at this
Yeah,
point.
it's tough. But Gil, what are you putting your money on tonight?
All right, tonight I am betting on Grayson Allen getting back. The two guys we talked about, Grayson Allen.
So Grayson Allen will be getting back tonight.
Getting
Okay,
back.
good to
Grayson
know.
Allen over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Colin Gillespie over 15 points on the Sun side, and then on the Timberwolves side, Anthony Edwards over 9.5 assists and rebounds, and Naz Reid over 14.5 points off the bench. Plus 675 odds, plus 30% boost. So we'll see how that goes.
I guess both of them are going to be pretty good then if you're putting money on both of them.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I hope so.
Espo, let's see what you're rolling with tonight.
Look, I treat my bets like I treat roller coasters. The bigger, the better, and the more exciting. So I went Colin Gillespie, first basket, plus 800. Not huge odds, but I love the ridiculousness of a first basket bet.
He does like to come out and just fire, whether he's checking in or whether it's early in the game. I don't hate that
So I
bet.
guess there's going to be a lot involved with the jump ball tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
Mark
always
Williams,
the first
Williams
basket.
has won a majority of the jump ball opportunities he's had, but with Rudy Gobert, it's a little different.
You better not disappoint me against that French guy. I'm gonna be very upset.
Let's put out the Freckled Mamba. Freckled Mamba behind the Mac, our own French guy. A nice long parlay for Ayrton. Colin Gillespie over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Grayson Allen plus 3 3-pointers made. Grayson Allen also over 18.5 points. Ryan Dunn over 1.5 stocks, and Mark Williams 5+ rebounds. All that parlay together to plus 575 with a 30% profit boost. Of course, courtesy of our friends over at Bet365.
Why did you do an Italian accent?
I can't do
called him
accents. I
French?
don't know. I tried to do
I was
it. but
confused.
I couldn't do it.
I was very confused.
Freckled Mamba.
He offended both
Easy,
of our
buddy.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Look, my bad, guys. Just a white dude from Arizona. What is this guy putting his money on tonight? Oh, how about a 4-leg parlay for me? Mark Williams over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I've got Colin Gillespie over 26.5 PRA. Ryan Dunn over 1/2 3-pointers made. And Jaden McDaniels taking over 2.5 stocks. He's been on a tear on the stocks recently at a plus 1,050 with a plus 30% profit boost. So I would be back in the positives if I hit my bet tonight, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Hey, man, not with that attitude. Again, it's the second time I'll tell you that.
No, but I've believed, and then they failed.
I'm
so
glad
I
I don't
stop
have to be the
believing.
positive speaker on this podcast alone anymore.
You know, I'm feeling
helps.
positive today too. I hope each and every one of you hit your bets.
Oh,
tonight.
wow.
It'd be crazy if you have 2 games in a row getting the first basket
It
right.
would.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that streak early in my betting career that we had a lot of first basket bets that hit for me with Jay Crowder. Maybe I
Bring
can
it back.
recapture that.
Connor's Cash Club?
Why not?
I
Why
think he
not?
learned from last game because he didn't add any other legs this
Nope.
time.
That's
He's
fair
like, bro, I would have won last time.
We
The
call
only
it growth.
Yeah, like
We'll
that.
call it something.
We're wrapping things up here on the PHNX Suns pregame show. Once again, come hang out. Gila River Resorts Casinos, Upper Deck Kitchen and Bars. The Suns are about to tip off against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's supposed buying drinks. We're all hanging out over at Wild Horse Pass.
Let me say this too, Math of the Power of Joe. He says, Espo is buying. Why do I live in Louisiana? You know what? Send me your Venmo, your Cash
wow.
App, whatever.
Let's go.
I will send you a little cash so you can get yourself a drink
There you
there
go.
in Louisiana.
Shout out to
Hit
the good
me
folks
up.
in Louisiana.
Shout out. There you go. Matt to the Power of Joe. Coming away big winner. Also big winner at WS Ken, and I don't know how you want me to pronounce that, but they became an MVP earlier in the show, so let's do it.
MVP, MVP, MVP.
Gotta say thank you too, because he said he's been listening since the solar panel days
Huge.
as an
There you
audio listener, but came into support. So thank you.
Awesome.
that.
You don't get the pregame shows on audio. This is a YouTube exclusive, so thanks for finding your way over here and becoming a member. Final thoughts: Suns, Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, Dillon Brooks. What goes down tonight?
Ryan Dunn is going to have himself a game.
All right. Like that.
He's been a spark for them. He just came back to the lineup after their last game or going into their last game. They're going to need his point of attack activity with Anthony Edwards, but also on Jaden McDaniels or Naz Reid or Julius Randle. So they need him to be everywhere and active with that, but also doing so without fouling. The Suns had 29 fouls in regulation, which tied the amount of fouls they had against Utah early in the season in overtime. So be better.
Royce O'Neal hits at least 3 threes.
Oh, the Royce coaster back on the way up.
All right, well, I already talked about the backcourt getting back there. I like Ryan Dunn. A big opportunity for Ryan Dunn as well. I think they're going to dare him to shoot a little bit. I think his activity will be massive on both sides of the floor. And love to see him on the offensive glass. And obviously, maybe he gets Rudy Gobert on the poster tonight.
Let's go with Mark Williams, huh? Let's see a little
all right.
energy. You didn't get to see a ton of Mark Williams against
true.
the Rockets. Was kind of effective in his minutes, but then saw a lot of the bench. I think as that game got out of hand, he should be nice and well rested, and they are going to need him.
Get that man a ball on a roll, please.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's what we want to happen. What do we think will happen tonight for what Espo deemed a Suns must lose? He does have the Suns losing 115-110. Steven with a 116-103 loss to the Timberwolves. Gil 118-107 loss to the Timberwolves, and I'm going a 121-115 loss to the Timberwolves. Espo, you're the most confident with a 5-point loss.
Hey, I think they'll play well. They wind up going out there and competing in most cases. I think that will happen tonight. I just don't think they have enough in the tank to get the win.
Yeah, in the spirit of not having enough, I think it'll be a close 11-point loss. But they hang around, but then ultimately you just look and say, man, they fought, they did what they could, but they just don't have enough.
I'm worried about the turnovers, and I'm worried about them fouling. And considering the fact that they're shooting 42% on 16 threes made the last 5 games, you can't be giving them more than what they're already doing on their own will. So kind of muddy up that game process for them as much as you can.
Look, there's only one way to find out. That's to watch the game. That's what we're going to do right here at the Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Wild Horse Pass. Come hang out with us. There is still plenty of time. We'll be here through the whole game. They'll be doing a post-game show right here. All nice shoulder and shoulder smushed together at Wild Horse
Makes you
Pass.
closer.
So make sure you come here, subscribe, hit that like button as well. Tune in for our post-game show. And, of course, follow along during the game at PHNX_Suns. We'll see a lot of y'all here soon in a second, and we'll see all of you back in post-game.
We all silly like the mayor.